We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is April 6th, 2026. I hope everyone had a good Easter. Happy Easter. If anyone hasn't kept up with the past couple episodes, happy Easter, happy late Easter. Mine was pretty good. Sammy got me a pack of Ninja Turtle cards, the Magic the Gathering. She got me a book. This is the third book of Nightmare Before Christmas. They made a Nightmare Before Christmas novelized version of the movie. And then they made a sequel, which I've read it. And this is the third one, so I'll be stoked to read that. I was going to do some more podcasts last night, but we turned the heat and the air off because it's springtime here in Kentucky. But dude, it got so fucking cold last night. Like, I literally just stayed under the blankets because I was planning on doing dishes and just rolling cigarettes, do a couple podcasts, but it was so cold I just stayed under the blankets like all night. It was pretty much useless. But I woke up a little early today, so I figured I got some time on my hands. I'll knock out a podcast. Got to go to Walmart here in a little bit, get some photos done, do some dishes, and then go to work tonight. But we've recently covered the disclosure stuff that's going on right now. I personally think it's a psyop, basically distracting us from the Epstein files. But I still find it interesting. I mean, if you guys know in general I've covered, alien stuff, UFO encounters, all that stuff throughout the years. I mean, I've been podcasting 6 years. I cover conspiracies, and that falls under it. We've covered a lot of ufology, paranormal, ancient astronaut theory, all that stuff. So, here recently, Alien.gov, the domain, has popped up. Apparently it's purchased. So I found a little info on it. I'm going to go through it with some commentary. So, Alien.gov mystery grows after White House says, quote unquote, stay tuned. The domains come less than a month after President Donald Trump said he would order federal agencies to release government files related to extraterrestrial life. So, two newly registered federal website domains, Alien.gov and aliens.gov, are drawing attention after records showed they were created this week by a U.S. government agency, fueling speculations as questions around UFOs and extraterrestrial life return to the spotlight. So, I'm not super tech savvy. You guys know that. I am curious, though. Can anyone buy a .gov? Like, I know anyone can buy a domain, in general. Like, Sam Tripoli, he cracks me up. He has an obsession where he will come up with, like, website names and not even actually use the domains, but he collects website domains. He just buys them. So he's listed off all the several different ones that he owns. I don't know why he does that. I guess like he thinks maybe he could resell the domain name. If you guys listen to Sam Tripoli, he's a weirdo. That's just one of his things, though, is he buys website domains. Like, he'll think of a really cool name, which he is good at coming up with names, and he just purchases them. Can anyone buy a .gov, or can it only be the government that buys a .gov? I'm curious. If you know in the comments, hit me up. So, the timing... Let me make sure. Yeah. The timing is notable. The domains surfaced weeks after President Donald Trump said he would push for the release of the government files related to UFO and extraterrestrial life, reigniting debate over what information the federal government has kept classified. So, very convenient that this comes out during the Epstein file release. Look, I have no problem with people looking into ufology. I would consider myself a ufologist. I've studied it, hell, since fucking... I'm 36 now. I've been studying it since I was, I would say, 20 years old after I had my UFO encounter. So that's 16 years I've been studying this shit. Which I've had someone like, how do you become a ufologist? I said, you study it. That's it. Like, there's no school, there's no degree. It's just you study it. I really didn't start calling myself one until, like, I studied it for, like, literally, like, years, you know. And then I was like, okay, I think I deserve to call myself this. But I do think it's a distraction from the Epstein files. I think it's a psyop, like I said at the beginning. And one thing that aggravates me about this is, like, I've been a conspiracy theorist since I'd say around 2011. I was kind of like halfway waking up. 2011 is 2010, 2011 is when I started learning about, like, 9/11 being an inside job. I seen the movie Zeitgeist, which blew my fucking mind. I learned about astrotheology. Got into, like, Bill Hicks a little bit, got into Jordan Maxwell a little bit. Those were, like, the two things that kind of, like, halfway woke me up. I was into paranormal. I started getting into, like, the whole JFK files. Like, I'd say around 2012, I was, like, staying at this girl's house, and I was getting into, like, watching, like, the cheesy conspiracy documentaries on daytime television when I wasn't at work, you know? But I didn't truly wake up until, I'd say, after my UFO experience. Like, that changed my life forever, and, like, from then on, I was, like, full-blown conspiracy theorist. And I was super huge into ufology. Like, that was my main thing, was ufology. So it does kind of, like, piss me off that, like, all these years, if you remember, like, I grew up in a household where my dad was really big into ufology. He used to go to the flea market and buy those, like, alien autopsy tapes, or best UFO sightings. You know, this was back when it wasn't digital film. It was, like, actual film, which to me makes it more credible. Because now with CG and AI, it's like, yeah, it's hard to tell what's even fucking real anymore. But I always remember watching these, like, interviews that they would show clips of interviews of, like, this is so-and-so. He works, he's a whistleblower from Lockheed Martin. This is Sheriff so-and-so, you know. And they would always say the same thing, like, the government needs to come out and admit it. And the government has gaslit the ufology community since like the 50s. You know, first it was swamp gas, you know. What is it, parabolia or whatever, where they're like, oh, it's just a cloud, you know. Like, the ufology community has been gaslit for decades. And then now suddenly the government's doing a 180. And a lot of people who are non-ufologists would be like, well, that means, you know, like, shouldn't you all be happy? And it's like, I don't know. Because I think a lot of people got discouraged and kind of left the ufology movement. They learned about stuff like Project Bluebeam. Kind of figured out that half of these, like, huge ufologists within the community are, like, spooks and, with shady connections like CIA and shit. So now that we got what we wanted, like disclosure, none of us trust the government. Which I never depended on disclosure. I did a whole episode on it. I can't remember the title, but I did a whole spiel about why do we need the government to tell us that aliens and UFO are real? Like, we already fucking know that. Now, what is aliens to you and me might be two different things. I think they're interdimensional beings. And I ain't gonna lie, I might even think that the Greys specifically are us from the future. Time traveling. But I don't know, it just pisses me off that, like, we've been talking about ufology, at least me, because, like, I get all sorts of conspiracy theorists in here. I get flat earthers. I get all sorts of people. I've been talking about this shit for forever. And now it's just like, and I used to get called crazy. People used to make fun of me. And now it's just out in the open and everyone's just kind of like, oh yeah, aliens are probably real. Like, and then when they do disclose stuff, people are just kind of like, I don't care. Like, so it does kind of piss me off. It's one of those things like, kind of like with the Epstein files, when all the Epstein file shit came out. I got like one apology. And it wasn't even really an apology, which they didn't need to apologize, the person who said it, but they did give me my roses. It was when I first started back at Kroger. Like, there's this black dude I work with, his name's Adrian, and one of the first things he said to me was like, bro, how do you feel about all this Epstein files? Like, all the shit you've been saying for years is fucking true. I said, dude, I know. I just started smiling from ear to ear. I'm like, I love it. Because when you get called crazy for years and then the shit comes out to be true, it's like, you look around like, where's my fucking apology? I mean, for one, you'll never get an apology, but two, it's like, it is gratifying to be like, I'm not crazy, you know, and you know you're not crazy, but it is nice to see that it's like, well, I told you, you know. UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Let's see. As of March 19th, neither website is live. So and this is a little bit older news, but I hadn't covered it yet. So I just wanted to cover it and talk about it. Today's after Easter Sunday. Today's April 6th. So this is a little bit old. Let me know in the comments. I might look it up and see if it's live yet or not. Here's what we know about the two mysterious new domains. Why did the federal government create Alien.gov and Alien.govs? As of March 19th, the federal government has not provided information on why the two domains were created. So this kind of goes back to my question a minute ago, if anyone can create a .gov. I know anyone can create a .com, but can they create a .gov? Or can only the government do that? In a statement provided to USA Today on March 19th, White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly said, "Stay tuned," including an alien emoji after her message. I don't know much about Anna Kelly. Let me know in the comments below if she's shady or not. The Pentagon did not immediately respond for comment about the domains when contacted by USA Today on March 19th. Neither website is live. As of March 19th, neither Alien.gov or aliens.gov directs online users to a finished website. So, 19th, I'm not sure how long it takes to make a website. Let's just say they bought the domain in the 19th. That doesn't mean they automatically started making the website. Or they could have already been making the website, then bought the domains, and they're going to launch it if it hasn't been launched already. Let's see. Give me just a second. Search bar. Alien.gov. Can't reach this page. So it says Alien.gov, and this was in the main search bar, unless I did something wrong. So, they're still working on it. So good, this isn't too old of a story. Domains come soon after Trump's press release to release files about extraterrestrial life. The creation of the government website domains comes less than a month. Am I reading? Okay, I lost my place. I'm sorry. Domains come soon after Trump's promise to release files about extraterrestrial life, which I think, like I said, is very convenient with the Epstein file release. The creation of the government website's domains come less than a month after President Donald Trump said he would order Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and other agencies to release government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and unidentified flying objects such as UFOs. I always use UFOs because it pisses me off that, like, no, you don't get to, like I said earlier in my little rant, my little side rant of, like, this is our community. We have been talking about this for decades, since the 1950s, if not earlier, probably the 40s, government is just now like, yeah, like, well, not just now, but within the past, like, decade, has just now started, coming out and being like, yeah, like, we're going to look into it, and we're the good guys now. By the way, we're going to rename it to UAP now. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to just join a community and then just start rewriting everything and changing everything. Like, it's one thing, it's like the same with, like, just the conspiracy community in general, man. I can't tell you how many people have, like, in comment sections, not my own, but, like, other people's, who have, like, literally tried to, like, they would tell me to, like, you need to wake up, and it's like, bitch, I've been awake since, like, 2012, dude. You probably just woke up, like, last year, like, and you're telling me I need to wake up. Like, who the fuck you think you're talking to? It's like that. You ever have someone, this is the perfect example of it. You ever, like, have a job for, like, a really long time, and then a new guy starts, and the new guy just, like, acts like he knows everything, and, like, you try to tell him, like, hey, this is how we do this, and it's like, oh, I know how to do it. Like, dude, this is your first week. Like, I'm just trying to help. But you know what I mean? Like, someone comes in and they just act like, they're a veteran, and, like, just dumb shit, Trump's comments were made after former President Barack Obama said on a podcast with Brian Tyler Cohen that he believes extraterrestrial life exists but has never seen evidence of it. The comments drew much attention, and Trump criticized Obama for releasing classified information. By the way, we covered that. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and download, or not, you don't have to download, but, like, if you have a YouTube account and this is what you're interested in, is all this disclosure stuff, you can save other people's playlist onto your channel. I have one. I think it's just UFO disclosure, or no, I think it's just called disclosure. I've made a playlist because I knew that this was going to be one of those subjects that where we continue to make episodes on it, because it's all still happening as we speak. And I covered that in a whole episode by itself. If you haven't heard all that stuff between Barack Obama coming out and saying that shit, Donald Trump saying some stuff. I think Donald Trump's daughter was in a podcast saying some crazy alien shit. I think I covered it in that episode. So go check that episode out. Because usually when it comes to stuff like this, where it's an ongoing thing, I'm kind of painting a picture. And I usually make playlists for certain subjects. That way you can just chronologically cover the whole saga, you know. Some UAP documents have already been released. Some government documents related to UAPs have been made publicly available. In 2023, former President Joe Biden signed a bill that required the National Archives and Records Administration to create a collection of government files about UAPs. Some of these records are available for viewing on the National Archives website. See, I didn't know that in 2023 he had signed a bill. That's pretty cool. I mean, give credit where credit is due. Like, very rarely, hang on, let me grab my cigarettes. Do I give Joe Biden credit for anything? But every now and then he actually did do like one or two cool things, which is not good. You had 4 years and you did like one or two cool things, but I dig it, you know. I'll have to look into that. I didn't, maybe it just slipped past my radar, or there was something more important to talk about rather than all this shit, you know. Under the law, the National Archives must also gather information about technologies of unknown origin and non-human intelligence. However, the measure still allows government agencies to keep records classified. But apparently, if it's true, Trump is going to release it all. Now, am I just going to ignore it and not look into it and not look at it? I'm not saying that, because this is one thing that aggravates me. I think this is a distraction from the Epstein files, but I'm still going to report on it because it's interesting. I've been interested in aliens and UFOs forever. And I was in a comment section, and I think it was Luke Radowski that I was like in his comment section, and he's been reporting a lot on this alien stuff, but he's also been reporting a lot on the Epstein stuff. You can report on both. And there was some crazy lady in there, one of those people I said, like, who just woke up a couple years ago and think they know it all, and they tell you what to do, and how to think. I'm sure you guys run across those people a lot within the conspiracy community. I know I do. And she was like, don't pay attention to this. This is all a distraction. It's Project Bluebeam. They're trying to distract us from the Epstein files. And somebody just commented and said, yeah, because I'm so brain dead that I can't focus on more than one subject at once. And I was like, damn. For one, burnt the fuck out of her. Two, it's right. He's fucking right, man. Everyone is like, this is a distraction. This is a distraction. This is a distraction. Within our community, everyone says this shit, and it's like, you know that we can focus on more than one subject at once. I mean, look at my channel. My channel is all over the place. I don't focus on just one thing. This isn't just a ufology channel. This isn't just an Epstein channel. There's a cryptid story about Bigfoot. There's a Bigfoot flap going on right now. I'm going to cover it in an episode coming up soon. There's a story about a U.S. mint that just came out that is pretty fucking creepy and sketchy. Of the eagle missing the olive branch. I'm going to do an episode on that pretty soon. I cover all conspiracy. We can focus on more than one subject at once, unless you're like brain dead or have some disability or something is wrong with you. it's okay to focus on more than one thing. You know, I've had people say, you know, like, this episode's you're disinfo. And I'm like, I'm disinfo, like, because I'm not talking about what they want me to talk about. And the thing is, it's like, I've talked about the Epstein shit. That's honestly probably my biggest playlist. Go check out the playlist. I've covered it like crazy. And I plan on continuing to cover it. But I can talk about more than one subject, you know? If a president determines the public release of certain records, but I do have to say, I always give that disclaimer. I think this is a distraction, but we can still look at it. Oh yeah, that's the point I was making. When all this shit's coming out, and will come out, I ain't gonna lie, I'm probably going to be reporting on it quite a bit. But you know what else I'm gonna be reporting on quite a bit? The Epstein stuff. I'm not just gonna like give up on the Epstein shit. I'm not gonna turn into third phase of Moon over here or Secure Team 10. You know, it's okay to focus on different subjects. Just letting you guys know, you know. That and like when she called me a disinfo agent, I was like, I would love to know where I'm a disinfo agent. You know, I've got a broken down mower over here. My grass is like a foot high. I could barely get hours at Kroger. Like, I live in a trailer. Like, where's my disinfo paycheck, man? If I work for the CIA, shouldn't I be living in like a mansion right now? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If a president determines the public release of certain records would pose a threat to U.S. intelligence operations and military defense, classification could be postponed under language in the bill. However, the potential harm of releasing the records must outweigh the public interest of disclosure to legislation. Why did the... Okay. So, I understand what they're saying right there. Now, this is what irritates me, though. So, like, it's saying we can only tell you so much if it starts messing with national security, or I'm sure if it gets into, like, hey, we've back engineered some technology, we can't talk about it because it's tied in with our military. I understand, like, protecting the nation, you know, protecting our secrets from other nations and shit. I understand why they would retract some of that. But are they going to go nuts like they did with the Epstein files? Because, like, yes, we got some files, and they were only supposed to retract just the victims' names and victims' information. But they're protecting PDF files. They're retracting customers of Epstein. They're retracting some of the abusers. And something tells me they're going to retract more than they're supposed to retract with this disclosure stuff. I don't know. It's just a hunch. It's just from what I've experienced so far going through the Epstein files that they're going to retract more than they need to retract. Which sucks. I would like full-blown disclosure. I mean, I'd get that they would have to retract some of it, like I said, for national security and shit. I understand that, you know. This keeps popping up. It's annoying. Okay, the page isn't responding, but that's the thing, though. The page is responding. UFO hearings held by Congress since 2023. In recent years, Congress has held several hearings related to UFO and UAP sightings. The most recent in September of 2025, so not too long ago. 4 witnesses testified about their first-hand experiences with what they believe to be a UAP. The individuals also said they have knowledge that federal government may be unlawfully shielding from lawmakers about the phenomena. The hearing was the third on the topic since 2023. So, there you have it, man. Alien.gov and Alien.gov, or aliens.gov, has dropped. The domain has been bought. Sounds like that's the 2 websites where all of the files are going to be dropped, the alien disclosure. Like I said, just be careful what you guys, believe. Use your discernment. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to think. Use your discernment. I told you my opinion. I think it's a distraction from the Epstein files. I also believe in Blue Beam. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in UFO or aliens. It just means I'm careful of what I receive. I take the information. I use my discernment. I use my wealth of knowledge that I've gained. And I decipher and come up with my own beliefs. You do the same, I've never wanted a brainwashed cult as a listenership. I want you guys to think for yourselves. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to donate to the channel, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate, you get a bumper sticker and a bookmark. I will snail mail it to you. Love y'all. I may put out another episode today. I got to run an errand, and then I got to do dishes. If I have time, I'll put out another episode.